The new Biden administration planning a blitz of executive actions over his first 10 days in office. And within hours of being sworn in, we watched the new president get straight to work. He signed 17 executive actions ranging from mask mandates to fighting global warming. Our Hope 4 breaks down all 17 for you in just 77 seconds.
There's a lot to unpack, so we're going to go quick. Mask required on federal property. The World Health Organization, the U.S. rejoins, and Dr. Anthony Fauci will head up the delegation to WHO. A new COVID-19 response coordinator position is created. A nationwide moratorium on evictions and foreclosures extended until March 31st. The pause on federal student loan interest and payments extended till September 30th. A majority of Biden's executive orders revolve around immigration. DACA protections reinstated. Travel ban to 7 Muslim-majority countries lifted. Expansion of immigration enforcement stopped. Construction of the border wall halted. Deferrals of deportations for Liberians extended. An order excluding undocumented immigrants from the census rescinded. The restriction on diversity and inclusion training within federal agencies is lifted, and workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity is prohibited. The Paris Climate Accord rejoined, and the Keystone XL pipeline canceled. The Office of Management and Budget, the office that prepares the president's budget proposal, has to update their review process. And finally, anyone appointed to the executive branch has to sign an ethics pledge to ensure they act in the interest of the American people and not for personal gain.
We know it's a lot of information, so we have posted more details for you in a story on 11alive.com.